Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Edge of Eternities, the newest set on Arena. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one here. Pretty good pack. I think I'm just going to go with Frenzied Bailoff. This is really strong for only 2 mana. It is color restrictive. It requires double green, so you need green to be the deepest color in your deck. But if I had to pick a color to start my draft off with in this format, it would definitely be green. Green has been exceptional, certainly the best color in the set, so I don't mind starting with a restrictive green card here. But we've got nice signpost uncommons as some options as well, and some decent commons there too. But we'll start with Frenzied Bailoff, see if we can't play around with this. For pick number 2, we have the best common in the whole set, Galactic Wayfarer, 3 mana, 3/3 plus. Put a Rampant Growth on your board. You can spend 2 mana and grab any base out of your deck, put it onto the battlefield. Tapped, then shuffle. That is going to ramp you into some of the big, beefy finishers that green has, or fix your mana, which is pretty hard to come by in this set. Lander tokens are the primary way to fix your mana for splashes, or just hitting double green and stuff like that with Bailoff in the first place. So very happy to take Wayfarer out of this pack. There is a very reasonable removal spell out of green here too, the Meltstrider's Resolve, but I'm going to take Wayfarer over that. Pick 3, I guess I'll take the Meltstrider's Resolve this time. Sammy's Curiosity is also some fine ramp, but I certainly prefer the creatures that come with lander tokens over just the spell that makes a lander. I don't think any of the cards are strong enough to really get me pushing off color. Unravel's pretty solid counterspell. Ace is a decent 2-drop. But the Roving Actuator I've been very unimpressed by. There aren't a ton of great 1 and 2 mana instants and sorceries, which means that they are really heavily contested because everybody's going to take them very highly when they show up. So I've found it pretty rare to actually have good targets for the Actuator. Pick 4, solid green common here, just some beef with the Ice Cave Crasher. Very reasonable to keep us just glued to our green here. 4 really solid green cards to start us off. Alternatively, this is where the off-color cards are getting a bit stronger than the on-colored stuff. Bombard, Cryogen Relic being excellent commons, and the Gigastorm Titan, potential 2 mana 4/4 for double spelling, which is pretty strong. The Elemental, pretty similarly, like a 2 mana 2/4 reach if you're getting your landfall triggers. Sometimes you can double them up. Pretty strong off-color cards, but Ice Cave Crasher has been deceptively good. Pick 5, 2 real directions to go here. We can just take Lash Whip Predator, which is fine filler. If your opponent is really aggressive, you get a 4 mana 5/7 reach. If you cast this for 6, it's super filler though. Or we could take seeing a signpost uncommon like Momenon, pick 5 as a solid reason for that archetype being pretty open. I really don't think I'm in a position to completely pivot off of all 4 of my first picks here, so I'm not going to go for blue-red there. If I had taken even 1 blue or red spell, then maybe that would be a more interesting proposition, but we'll just stick to our green here. There was a perfectly solid on-color card. Pick 6, I like the Landseeker for the green-red landfall decks. 4 mana, 4/3 menace plus a lander token. You have to use that lander token within a turn, but it's still quite a great stat line for that cost. So I'll speculate on that over taking Curiosity. And I'm pretty happy with that speculation because now we get a Plasma Bolt, pick 7. This is great at ripping apart the cheap creatures, the little stuff on the board. There are tons of really big things, so you do want to have removal that can kill bigger cards, but efficient removal against the small threats is still good. There are still pretty aggressive blue, white, red decks in the set. Pick 8, Germinating Worm is fine. Green filler. Pick 9, don't love Shattered Wings. The fact that it's a sorcery is such a huge downside. I'll just take the best off-color card, even though we're quite unlikely to do it. We get a pick 10 Landseeker, great sign for red. I don't think Skywarden's super good, but it's fine. Remnant Elemental's pretty solid. Melded Moxite too. Good when you get in a top deck war, good way to filter through your stuff. Random combat trick, and pack 2, pick 1, what have we got? Terra Botanist seems fine. 2 mana 2/3, gain a life off free land. Bombard's almost definitely better though. Efficient 4 damage removal. Alright, come on in, Bombard. Pack 2, pick 2. Invasive Maneuvers is a solid removal spell, but we also have Galactic Wayfarer, which is spectacular. Yeah, we have no Spacecraft right now. So 2 mana, deal 3. Again, still solid, but I think that gives Wayfarer the nod. Oh no, a Spacecraft! We were gonna have a Spacecraft the whole time! Scoutlander is awesome in a lander token deck. If you can sack a lander token to get 2 lands off this card, you are ramping like nobody's business. You get that first lander to get its whole effect for free instead of 2 mana, and you get an additional land out of it. Super, super good, but even just sacking a basic is pretty fine. Then this is like a Harrow, which has been a good ramp spell for years. Very, very happy with the Scoutlander. Speaking of lander tokens, Orbital Plunge is my favorite red removal spell. I love just blow up a creature plus get a lander. Good 2-for-1 value there. And this is the best color pair for that card, because we could get additional value from the landers with landfall abilities like Ice Cave Crasher and Remnant Elemental. Pick 5. Let's go. Galactic Wayfarers all day long. I want to play the blue-white deck at some point. That's going to be a pretty fun archetype, but obviously we have our lane out of this draft. Pick 6. Another Orbital Plunge. Pick 7. Another Lash Whip Predator. Yep, not a super crazy pack. Pick 8, Biosynthetic Burst is my favorite kind of combat trick, the kind that can save your stuff from removal spells as well. This doesn't save them from exile spells, which is a bit of a bummer, but still works pretty well. And the bigger your creatures are, the better that is. So obviously when you have big green finishers like Predators and Worms, the card gets better. Systems Override is actually fine in really aggressive decks, and we're somewhat aggressive here. Might not be crazy, but I'm just going to take more random filler beef. I don't think I want a treason effect. Maneuvers or Mock Sight, both reasonable. Now I actually do have 1 Spacecraft. Still not a lot. But I'll go for the Maneuvers. Doesn't feel like the best Mock Sight color pair. No respect for Landseekers. So pack 3, pick 1. Nebula Dragon's a really solid way to stabilize. Gene Pollinator ramps pretty well. But I think this is like the perfect use social engineering deck. So I really don't want to lose my chance of scooping that up here. The better Chocobo Racetrack, because you could warp it out on turn 2 or on turn 3 and get a 2/2. So it helps your hand have an early play and the big 5-drop finisher, and we have so many landfall tokens. So many lander tokens to trigger landfall, I should say. Another Scoutlander? This deck's gonna be a banger. I was gonna say no rares, no problem, but we actually do have 1 Frenzied Baloth for a rare. Now that we've got that engineering, I actually think I like Landseeker more than Crasher. That said, I'm pretty sure this Landseeker wheels. I'm not as sure about the Crasher because we got a literal last pick Landseeker last pack, so I'll take another Crasher over it. Although, I actually have enough 4-mana stuff here. I don't think I get to play both. So I guess I'd rather be on Infinite Landseekers than Crashers. That's really close, though. The trample and then having somebody that benefits from the landfall is big. Intimidator's awesome in this deck. This is, at worst, a 2-mana 4/3. And a 2-mana 4/3 is insane. At best, we spend 2 mana, get a 2/1, and our opponent gives us 2 landers. Those landers go a really far way in this archetype. Yeah, Intimidator is filthy here. Pick 5. I've got 1 Plasma Bolt and 1 Burst. Not an actuator deck. I am not going to put in a bunch of differently named lands for this card. So this is an 8 mana ability, but still quite a big ability. It's like my infinite 4-drop though. It's my 6th one now. Kind of a hard sell. Take a mech in here. Colossus also fine. But I got plenty of filler beef, it looks like. I got 6 filler finishers. And the Mechan is also another filler finisher. It makes all of our creatures get that +4/+0 ability in the late game. Even if I just have like a 2/2 on the board, I make it a 6/4 and send it in. Our opponent kind of has to block there. Do like the Nebula Dragon for stabilizing quite a bit. I've got a whole ton of 4-drops. Crasher's a good one, but got a lot of that going on, so we'll take a Nebula Dragon. Big late game stabilizer. Pick 8, another Bombard. Again, I have so many 4s. Sorry, Crasher. Pick 9, another Nebula Dragon. I'm not sure I get to play both of these, but probably better than Sky Wardens with all the Lander tokens going on. We can just go from 4 mana to then like 6s and 7s. That makes sense to me. Sure, we'll drop those. Drop the Mechan. Wheeled an Ice Cave Crasher. We didn't wheel the other Landseeker? Oh wait, no, I took it. Never mind. We wheeled the Crasher when it was between Crasher and Landseeker. So we would have wheeled either one. Feels like a really open green-red draft pod. Huge, huge quality out of the commons that we see here. We just didn't open up a lot of really strong uncommons or rares for this archetype. I mean Scoutlanders getting passed to us. But didn't get the Signpost uncommon, didn't open really any rares for it outside of our pack 1 pick 1. So it's not the perfect build, but I don't think that's anything to do with how we drafted it. I think this was about the best deck we could end up in this pod, at least the best color pair. Looks pretty excellent. So you social engineering is basically another creature. So let's put that in our creature curve by putting everything that says robot up there. And let's go 15 to 17 creatures here to be pretty aggressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, Scoutlanders don't count. They sort of count. Let's go 15 creatures, 2 Scoutlanders. That's like 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I could cut like 4 creatures here. Million 4-drops. Might cut the Crashers. I think I like Worm better than Predator. Actually, with double Scoutlander as well, for the Warp to actually matter. Warp and Station 5 out of the 7 for Scoutlander. I actually think that is probably better than Predator in this deck because it's more consistent. Because again, 6 mana 5/7 reach is really quite filler, so this is making up for that by being a 4 mana 5/7 reach sometimes. Not super often in this set, I feel. If there were any 2-drops I could cut, it would probably be Remnant Elemental, but I have so many Lander token things going on that this could be a late game big swing off of just a 2-drop. I guess just cut those 4. Running Worm and Dragons over the 5/7 there. 2 non-creature cuts. I might cut a Plasma Bolt because we have removal that can kill bigger stuff here. I like the idea of the Biosynthetic Burst here. A big trample swing later in the game too. This looks pretty aggressive. But that also makes me like Plasma Bolt a little more because Plasma Bolt can shoot face, which is nice. But I like the Meltstrider's Resolve. The additional aura benefits of this card actually go kind of a long way. If we put this on a Landseeker, they literally can't block it. I have 4 Landseekers, and if I put it on a menace creature like Kov Landseeker, it makes it unblockable. And I kill a 4 power or less creature when I play it. Yeah, no, that's too cool with Landseeker to pass up on. Alright, Plasma Bolt maneuvers, get out of here. We go full shenanigans mode. We still have 5 removal spells and a combat trick. 2 ramp spells. Bunch of creatures. It's going to be a fun deck. I'm very excited for this one. So without further ado, let's just hop right into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. I need to top deck a land. But then we have Galactic Wayfarer on turn 3, and everything is castable except Germinating Worm from there. We have not drawn a land yet. Failed our first coin flip. What about draw number 2? Oh boy. Not a land either. Well, this is awkward. This thing has Menace. It's really good at stationing. Otherwise, it's going to keep putting counters on our board, which is nice. Man, not only did I not hit a land, I kind of hit a 5-drop here, which is really awkward. Could have tried a Biosynthetic Burst attack. I guess there wasn't really a reason not to. It does kind of reveal that we have some kind of trick. But like attack and then just Germinating Warp main phase 2. Not like this arena. I think this deck is pretty good if it can draw lands. I'll be very sad if I lose any games to just complete mana screw. 2-for-1 me with an instant speed removal spell, and I'm only stopping 1 more damage by blocking here in the first place, so I'm not going to try to burst. Now, I sort of feel like if they had removal, they would have killed Elemental and attacked all. There's 5 more damage to kill Elemental here, which is massive. But maybe they're playing it really safe with their removal. Not the case, we do kill the Death Toucher. And they reanimate it. Well, we have land 3 on our turn 6, I think. Is something. Taking 2 a turn from the Death Toucher, but if I kill the Menace card, and that's all I'm taking until they draw removal. They got their own hexproof trick. Disgusting. I gotta go trade here, Wayfarer, trade there. I'm at 1. They play a creature here, we're dead. If they don't, we plunge Saboteur. We're dead? Ah, it's beyond disappointing. I can plunge that, take 2, and die. I can engineering, play a land, and crack a lander and have 2 2/2s, but I need 3 creatures because of the menace. And those are the closest ways I have. I have Worm, I gain 2, I'm at 3 and still die to menace. Unfortunate draws to start us off. We just didn't draw land until turn 6. And then we drew multiple in a row. They clumped up pretty well on us there, but not drawing a land 5 turns in a row is going to do that. That is 0-1 heading into game 2. That is going to be a forced mulligan here with no green for these cards. I am running 9 forests and 8 mountains. I swapped over from the auto-suggester to 9-8 split in green's favor because we have the double green rare. Yeah, I mean, 9 forests makes slightly, but I mean, with how they treated us last game, I think I have to mulligan. I'm any land draw away from Landseeker grabbing the green source, at least with this hand. So I'll keep it. But these are some bad omens that we're starting this draft off like this. Again, I think the deck is pretty excellent, but every deck you ever draft is going to be prone to the same mana flood and mana screw issues. Fingers crossed, our luck does not continue this way for the rest of the draft. So I want to get as many games in with this deck as possible, and that's going to be hard to do without drawing mana. First 2 draws were a double green spell and a 4-drop so far. At least I have the Bombard for their mythic rare here. But that's 3 for 3. Again, missing land draws. Starfield Shepherd's an excellent card. Picks up a plains or a 1-drop when they warp it, and then again when they cast it. So it gets the plains so that they can hard cast it next turn and then get the 1-drop. Huge 3 for 1. Alright, pretty frustrating it's a mountain, but again, part of why we kept this was that any land, including a mountain, unlocks green off of Landseeker. Miss a land again. At this rate? I think I'm just trying to race all this menace damage in. Because if I'm choosing to crack a lander token right now, I'm not adding anything to the board at all. If I had like a 2-mana red creature, it would probably be worth going for it there, but without being able to do anything. The turn I crack the lander, I just don't think it's worth it. Now I drew a 7-drop as well. Okay. I'm still just going to play Landseekers. They're at 12 life and we have 12 menacing power on this board. But next turn, if I still miss another land, then now I have no choice but to crack the lander token. That is a lot of blockers over there. I attack with all 3 Landseekers. I kill 2 4/4s and hit for 4, put them to 8. They're down to a 5/5 and a 3/2. Okay, kill a 4/4 in the flyer. That works too. Cryogen Relic to keep our Landseeker stunned. Whoa, that's aggressive. Sure. I can't really chump block with my mana. My land draws this game were mountain and mountain. In like 7 or 8 turns now. I have naturally drawn 2 mountains and that's it. I don't have double green. Wayfarer and Scoutlander together would be pretty cute. I'm also 1 off of the Nebula Dragon. Germinating. There's a big flyer to try to kill us in the sky, but if we get to 1 more mana for Nebula Dragon, we have a 4/4 flyer to block the 3/5 flyer. That is obnoxious. Gives them the attack with the 5/5 and the 4/4 here. And then again next turn. The saddest part about this is I have the Resolve on Landseeker combo. But that's the only thing I get to cast that turn, which means that, like, I do it, I kill a 4/4 and have a completely unblockable Landseeker and then just die on the crackback. So I just block Mechanozoa, take 5. If I had 1 more green source, where I could play just like 1 more chump blocker and do that, might have been a thing. But I couldn't play Nebula Dragon. If I play Wayfarer, I have to just pass. Chump, take 3, and like I just die. So disappointing, honestly. I mean, what can you do there? Like, I already mulliganed down to 6 on that one. I think our game 1 hand was reasonable. It was a 2-lander that just needed 1 land and just never found it. We can go back to the drawing board and see if there's anything that we could do deck building wise to help these mana issues out, but this curve is reasonable for a 17 land deck, especially when that deck has access to a ton of ramp if it ever makes it to 3 mana. There's 5 different ways to ramp. There's 4 4-mana ways. Like, the only argument you could make is maybe we're supposed to be on 18 instead of 17 lands, but even there, the odds of drawing lands aren't that statistically different. They change by maybe like 0.5 percentage points. And I think with the amount of ramp and lander tokens that we have access to at 3 mana, that 18 lands would just be overcorrecting to the variance and making us too heavy on mana, considering we don't actually have that much when we get to 5 and up. Yeah, I think it's really just been variance so far. A really, really disappointing start to this draft. All right, here we are for game number 3. Sadly, we don't draw any of our 2 mana or 3 mana threats, but at least we know we will not have mana issues with this hand. Playing against mono white for now from our opponent. No plays yet from them. Now they play a Bright Spear Zealot. Don't actually need to ramp up yet. I like the idea of Scoutlander sacking the Landseeker's token, so I could just bombard the Zealot for now. It's perfectly fine. Then I get to go Landseeker, and then turn 5, Scoutlander plus Resolve. Resolve with Landseeker out is absolutely incredible, giving us just an unblockable Landseeker. And that's if we miss a land draw. If we do draw land, then I could also go for Biosynthetic Burst instead, or this Remnant Elemental that we drew into. Alright, Landseeker gets banished, so no resolve yet, so we would really like to top deck a land, so I could play something else alongside Scoutlander this turn. Are they fully mono white? Banishing Light, Starfield Shepherd there. Grab a Planeswalker 1-drop. They grab a white 1-drop, they might be. Miss a land there. A little sad. Since I drew another Landseeker, we pass up on the first lander. Setting up for the resolve once they replay the Shepherd. Here it is, and what does this one tutor for? Another 1-drop white creature, another Starport security. Okay. Resolve on the Shepherd. Scoutlander, the lander token that's going to die anyway. We have an unblockable 4-power creature on the board now. There's the All-Fate Stalker for him, sadly. And the Biosynthetic Burst can't stop that. It doesn't actually give hexproof, like a lot of the other green tricks in the past. Counters onto their board. We get to plunge back our Landseeker. But it's not unblockable, it's just Menace. Ooh, Lightsmith, draw a card every time they double spell. That is really strong with some good 1-drops in the deck like Starport Securities. So I'm definitely going to plunge that away. Then crack the Lander token. Then I can station the Scoutlander with Elemental alone. This is the middle lander. Tap the Landseeker, but they still take 3 in the sky now that Scoutlander is active. There's another Starfield Shepherd, very nice. Finds the planes. So they're out of 1-drop creatures now, at least. Hardcast the Westbleed Enhancer. Okay. I don't quite have enough lander tokens to get elemental in it. Still just could be a 4/4. So I'll send this stuff in. I've got the burst up. Or the worm if there is a no good spot to burst. But we're probably bursting. Yep, that's a definite burst. Germany. I'm going to try to station even my spacecraft that are already creatures. I'm going to try to station them every time I warp just so that I get used to that. So it's sort of like muscle memory so I don't punt and forget warp stations in the future. Eject the Landseeker. To combat we go. Clear out these blockers. Get a path for our 5/5. Ooh, or just go to Funky Town with Remnant Elemental. There's the concession from our opponent. We have enough lander tokens to give +8 and deal 10. So that's lethal. That is 1 and 2. Now we have our chance of rallying back and getting a solid record out of this draft. I think the deck is very good, but those first 2 losses were pretty crushing variance there. So we gotta cross our fingers and hope to dodge any more bad luck as we head into game number 4. All right, we have the Landseeker Resolve combo, also the Landseeker Scoutlander combo. Nothing to play early. I'm still keeping this, but I'm really hoping to hit a 2-drop. Lead with the Forest and see if we can't hit our great rare. That would be the best way to start this game off. Nope. Immediately draw a 7-drop. I think I have to just Scoutlander on 3 then if I actually have something to ramp towards. Our opponent starts with a Pulsar Squadron Ace. We draw into a Bombard. They are on green-white, poke us for 2. Squadron Ace, pretty good in green-white just for having that counter on it when they play it. I naturally have land 4 to know that I'm Landseekering on 4, and then I do have turn 5, no matter what lands I draw, I can play Scoutlander and Resolve in the same turn. And I have a good 3-mana play, so I could go Bombard, then Landseeker, then Scoutlander Resolve. Let's do it. They didn't have a 3-drop, so we're not under too much pressure. Just taking 2 a turn. There's a 3/3. I guess I'm killing a 3/3 instead of a 2/3. We have naturally drawn land 5, so now I have multiple options next turn. There's the removal for the Landseeker. Sad day for the Resolve Landseeker combo, but that's why we have a full playset. before Landseeker's in here. Speaking of, at 13 now, if I don't play this Landseeker to resolve and kill one of their creatures this turn, I'm going down to 9. I'm gonna lock it in. Just a little sad I don't get to hold up Biosynthetic Burst while I do this. If I played Scoutlander now, then I could hold up the Burst and do that the turn after this. But I'd also be under a lot of pressure, down to 9, 3 creatures on board after the Squadron Ace comes out. Let's go. Landseeker remains. Absolutely love to see it. They are at 20, so I'm not sure that I'm quite at the point where I can afford to attack or station. At 13 to 20, I think I'm just holding off here. But once this Nebula Dragon comes down and clears one of those out, we are free to do whatever we want. This can't be good. Double combat trip? Single combat trip. Alright, we're chilling. Ooh, engineering's a solid one. Take 3 damage if I want to station the Scoutlander fully. Just get most of the way there. Stationing for 5 makes it so a single robot off the engineering can finish off the station as well. Ooh. Probably give us the landers before they know about the engineering. And then the fact that they gave us the landers is actually legit. Plus, this is a 2-power creature for the Scoutlander station. Let's go. That's sick. Hold up the 4/4 and a bombard, just in case. At 9, they have 5 power on their board. They can make it 7 off of double spelling. Yeah, I'll play it safe here. I could also just, like, cast engineering and pass. Setting up to get robots next turn. I don't want to cast the engineering and attack. And then be tapped out with just Nebula Dragon on board. Because then if they go removal spell plus combat trick, I'm dead. Because that's the double spell they need to buff the Zealot. The removal they need to get through unblocked. So it's either like you attack and hold the mana up, or you don't attack at all, really, and just play the engineering. Oh man, they're just dead before engineering because they have no reach. 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 5, that's 12 unblockable. Oh, I didn't even get to do the engineering. I feel like that card's going to be sick in this deck, but that was not the game for it. Still, some really excellent stuff. We got the Landseeker Wombo combo completely unblockable for a lot of damage that game. 6/6 stuff, and we are officially at least 2-2 now. 50-50 for now. All right, here we are for game number 5. We are on the draw on this one. This is a little slow on the draw, but I feel like we haven't drawn any of our 2-mana creatures like a single time all day, so I guess that's pretty normal. Oh wait, no, we did hit a Mana Dork in one of the games that we lost because we didn't draw lands. We had the 2-mana 1/3 Mana Dork. But I don't remember any game us getting like the full-on 2-drop, 3-drop kind of curve out. Playing against a blue-white, a very aggressive color pair in the set. All of the really good aggressive cheap white creatures, and there's some blue creatures that are actually really aggressive too, like the 2 mana 4/4, but you can only cast it if you double spelled. That is bold. Lightsmith without playing a second spell the turn they play it. Fair enough. Get out of my life. So we get to kill it before they draw any cards off of it, which I'm very happy to do. Station Monitor. This one is going to get double spelled the turn they play it, though, so they get at least 1 flyer off of it. But then I definitely kill it this next turn. God, this is so aggressive. I'm super worried, but at least our plays are simple. I don't think there's much arguing around what I've done each turn. There's really just like the one line we've got to prevent as much damage as possible each of these turns. The worst part is, like, killing the drone isn't even that good. And they have the counter spell anyway. Absolutely brutal. But the drone does move all of its counters over, which is particularly deadly here. And the trooper, I think, gives them a 1/1. Yeah, killing the drone just puts the 3 counter somewhere else, plus they get a 1/1, and they just can't stop drawing spells still. More creatures, more threats. Ah, it's such a bad draw. Our out here was just to get a land for the dragon, which means that we had like 10 outs in the deck. I guess 11. I've got 6 lands on board. Scoutlander doesn't work though. I mean, I go to 1. Block, take 5. I think that just seals it. Man. I can't believe this deck is gonna go 2 and 3. Such a bummer. But what can you do? Our first 2 losses were just unplayable games of Magic. And then this one just like, oops, I was on the draw against the best blue-white curve out I've seen so far. And blue-white's one of the most aggressive strategies in the first place, even when it's not like their best possible curve out like this. So, it is what it is, but I'm still very sad. This is a 6 toughness blocker. Oh my god, I'm literally 1 creature off. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm killing 2 things. And then I have a 6 toughness blocker for their 5 power creature that I don't want to kill. Okay. If they absolutely flood out, I could try to be stable at 1 life. But I think they got us with that curve out. I am dead if I attack with anybody. Or if I station with anybody. But I am still very slightly alive right now. Awesome. Well, as expected, 2 and 3. Might have had a tiny chance on the play there, but that was an unbeatable curve out from our opponent, with them being on the play. Super disappointing run. Genuinely, I think we drafted really well this time. I think this deck is very, very strong. We just got absolutely done in by Magic Arena and variants. RNG. Our first two losses. Astronomically bad mana draws that can happen to any deck. And the third loss, our opponent was a super aggressive deck with a great curve on the play. Another fatal flaw of literally any deck you draft. These things can happen. This deck could have used a few more 2-mana creatures. That would have certainly helped a little bit. But outside of that, I think the only flaw is that we just don't have like any bomb power. We're scrapping, but we can't open more bombs. That's not like a skill issue. So that's another thing that's kind of out of our control. Yeah, I think the only thing we really could have done during the draft itself was probably end up with a little bit more 2-mana plays, but I don't remember a lot of 2-mana cards that were really that good that we passed up on too often. But if there were a couple opportunities here or there to maybe take a 2-drop over a Landseeker, if the 2-drop was pretty good, that could have helped the deck out a little bit. Get that curve a little bit lower, but overall, I think the variance really got us. I think we had great removal, we had great threats throughout the curve, good ways to stabilize. Engineering would have been really, really nice with the amount of lander tokens we're providing. We had really fun combos with Landseekers and Resolves and Scoutlanders, those cards all playing super well together. Yeah, what can you do? I think we saw the absolute lowest end of the spectrum this deck could possibly do. Some rough luck there for a 2-3 run with what I think is more like a 5-3 deck on average. Very disappointed in this draft, but that's why we do a draft every day. We'll have a fresh new deck tomorrow, fresh new chances to not draw quite as few lands, and maybe not get aggroed out. We'll see. That is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe. Tell the YouTube algorithm to send some more in a recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.